Well, welcome everybody. We're glad you could join us today. This is about what, Connie, the fourth or fifth year that we've offered this webinar. And it's always probably the most popular one that we do because the holidays can be so difficult in any case. And then when you lose your pet, it makes it even more so. Um, so we're going to get started by just telling you a little bit about who we are because I know that whenever I go to these webinars, I always wonder, well, who are these people that are about to present this information to us and how do they know this information? So I'll start and then I'll give Connie a chance too. And so
Yeah, I'm doing my hearing aid.
please make sure you're on mute. Um, so I have been doing this work now since about 2009, 2010. My name is Sandra Grossman. I started Pet Loss Partners with um, an associate of mine who's since retired. And I am a certified pet loss bereavement counselor, but really how all this started for me is I lost that beautiful boy on the left-hand side. His name was Maz, and he was my 17-year-old Siamese boy, and he was really my everything. He got me through so much of life, including the end of a long-term relationship, losing both my parents in a 4 year period. He really was probably my best friend, my soulmate, one of the greatest teachers that I've ever had for sure. And so when he developed cancer, I thought, well, I can't lose him. And it was back in 2007 when there wasn't a whole lot of support out there. And even though I did everything I can, I did lose him and I was really broken. I was unable to go to work. I almost lost my job. There wasn't, like I said, a whole lot of support, but as I did find a group and as I began to heal, I realized that I wanted to help others. So I went back and got trained and certified. My background is in psychology. I'm not a therapist. I have my doctorate in organizational psychology. But like I said, I've been started Pet Loss Partners in 2010. Today we offer two chat rooms each week. We do two support groups each week. Connie and I do individual sessions as well. And our goal really is just to be that safe place where people can go when they're having a hard time after losing a pet or dealing with a pet who's at the end stage of life. So that's who I am. Probably one of the best things along with helping people that happened is I met an incredible group of people that I work with of Pet Loss Partners today. And one of them is Connie, and I'm going to turn it over to her and let her tell you a little bit about herself and how this journey started for her.
Hi, everybody. We're so glad you're here. Like we say, we're glad you're here, but we're so sorry why you have to be here. And uh, that was my beautiful Ruby. I lost her at 4.5 to lymphoma. It was a traumatic, horrible time. I was in my master's in counseling psychology program, and there wasn't a lot of help back then. This was 2005. Um, as Sandy mentioned, the fields of pet loss bereavement support, there wasn't a lot back then when we were grieving, and you kind of had to go it on your own. And so I thought, well, this is kind of something I'd like to do. Help people who have lost their best friend, because honestly, we all lost our best friend. We lost that best friend that loved us unconditionally, that gave us routine, a sense of purpose and identity, and that's why this is so hard. Um, I founded the Pet Loss Support Group through the Seattle Animal Shelter. We've been going for it'll be 20 years coming this April. I can't believe it. And I met Sandy about what, 150 years ago,
About
it seems
150
like.
years. Yeah.
We were both chat hosts at the Association for Pet Loss and Bereavement. That was where we both got our specialist certification. And then we jumped ship, and I joined Sandy at Pet Loss Partners, and we've been going strong ever since. So welcome. I hope you take away some ideas to help you get through this time. You will get through this time. Both Sandy and I can attest that, but um, you don't do it without support, and you don't do it without some good ideas and some resources to help you get through this. So um, welcome, and thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you, Connie. So, like Connie said, our purpose today is really to be that first, hopefully, safe space where you know you don't have to go through this alone. And you can get some coping strategies for healing, healing in general, healing through the holidays. And also, we're going to talk about ways of memorializing your pet, keeping them close to you. We do have more and more people come to us whose pets are still alive and they're at the end stage of life. And so we did want to spend a little bit of time talking about anticipatory bereavement, which is that time that we go through as our pets age or are diagnosed with a serious illness. And that's what it is, and it may be all of a sudden, you remember your pup running all over the place, and now he kind of likes to sit on his favorite couch, and his muzzle is gray. I happen to love gray muzzles. I think there's something very knowledgeable and wise about them. Or maybe it's that cat who was scratching your curtains down and now is just wants to lay in the sun. During that time, we start to realize, just like as humans, right, that there is more behind us than in front of us with our beloved pets. And it can be very scary and very traumatizing. And so it's important to have tools to begin to work through this time so that you can deal with the loss eventually when it comes. We're going to talk about three areas in this. We're going to talk about taking care of your pet, some reminders, taking care of yourself, and also making the most of your time together. And Connie, would you mind taking the first slide here?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
caring for your
yeah.
pet.
Yeah, have some more of your tea. Um, um, just having gone through this myself with one of my dogs who was had end stage kidney disease,
Mm.
uh, we really had to understand um what that looked like. And that's where a good relationship with your veterinarian can help. Um, understanding their illness or their condition or their natural aging process, and understanding when it's time to let them go. And that's the hardest thing. And when we often say to our clients and group members, when they have that hard time making that decision, who are you holding them on? Who are you holding them on? Who are you holding on to them for? Are you holding on to them for them or for yourself? And we are always holding on for ourselves, always. Um, this is where a quality of life scale can really come in handy. Quality of life scales separate the head from the heart, because our hearts take over when we're dealing with a pet that we know we're not going to have for very much longer. And so we can trick ourselves and go, oh, well, he ate some rotisserie chicken, which is always the seems like our last bastion of food to try to give a sick dog or a cat. He ate some chicken, but yeah, but he didn't eat a lot. And he's losing weight. And he never has gotten back to his appetite. And generally when a pet is failing, and a person too, is they may rally and our hopes go, yo, they've made some miraculous recovery. Well, no, they very rarely do. Very rarely do they ever do that. And so um, these quality of life scales, especially when done over time, it's not something you want to do just once because you don't feel the same way every day, and our pets don't either. So they may rally. And so we'll go, oh, look, he's walking, he's eating, he's drinking, he's going outside to pee, everything's great. But then they decline again. So you need to be doing it, however frequently you feel you should do it. You should do them over time, just so you can see how your pet is doing and when it's time to make that decision. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure it's not going to be an emergency where you're rushing them to the vet on a Saturday night, which it seems like they always do it on a Saturday night for some reason. And so make sure you have a plan. And, you've probably heard this, and we say this a lot, and there's different sayings, but better a day too early than an hour too late, because we gave our pets a solemn promise when we got them, and that was that we would not let them suffer. And so it is our responsibility as their caretakers, as their parents, to keep that promise. And unfortunately, we end their suffering and we're left behind to bear it. So just make sure that you have a plan, that you understand your pet's illness or condition, and that you use that quality of life scale. There's a good one. Dr. Alice Villalobos down in California. Sandy worked with her very closely. There's a good one there. Journey's Home has a really good one that incorporates a couple of questions for you in there as well, like how well do you feel you can manage your pet's illness or condition? Because that's a big thing. Maybe you're a small person and you have a giant dog. You can't lift that dog outside to go to the bathroom. So there's a lot of considerations, and it's just the time that we really need to pay attention to them and and understand where they are in their journey.
Thanks,
Did I cover
Connie.
did I cover everything?
You did. I'll try
Oh,
to take the next couple,
okay,
see how I go.
perfect.
Um, and here's the thing too, Connie mentioned it at the end of what she was saying, right? It's how are we doing as well? Because you can't pour from an empty kettle. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not making sure that you're getting some sleep, that you're at least if not eating full meals, snacking on healthy things, finding some quiet time to meditate, to pray, having some respite care, just like in human end of life, they tell you to have respite care. Somebody who can help you along the way that you can call on. You see, this one we're going to talk about it is asking for support, building what we call a tribe of people who can help. Who are those people in your tribe? You want to find people, and you see it's an acronym for tribe there. People who are truthful, who are not going to just tell you what you want to hear. People who are reliable, that you can count on for help when you need some people who are informed, your veterinary team who can give you the answers you're looking for. A balanced person, someone who is emotionally able to be there for you, can provide some kind of realistic outlook and be by your side through all of it. But also somebody who is encouraging, somebody who's going to give you the strength on your darkest days to help you and let you know that you're trying to do the best you can. It's those kind of people that you want to try to find and put in your tribe. Have your tribe those people that you can rely on. And this is kind of a review of what we're talking about, caring for you and your pet. Having outside resources, whether it be your tribe or in-home veterinarians, an animal hospice group. Having written resources. If your pet has kidney disease, you may want to ask your vet, what can I read up on? What can I learn? Don't go to Dr. Google. Dr. Google's going to make you feel like you've only got another hour together. Ask your vet for proper resources. Don't forget to create those special moments. You've often heard of a pet's bucket list. Even if your dog can't go on a long walk like they used to, now they have those, what do you call them, the carriages, the carts that you can put them in, right? If or take them for a long ride. And know that you're not alone. There is support out there. There are specialists like Connie and I. There are support groups, but you don't have to go through this alone. So we're going to switch over to talking about anticipatory bereavement and kind of move over to the loss. And I think with the loss, it's really important to understand some basics about pet loss. The first one is that your feelings are real. Probably the most difficult part of pet loss compared to human loss is that it is a very disenfranchised type of loss. People, with a human loss, right? When you go through a human loss, there's more structures in place. You have a wake, you have the funeral, you have a Shiva. More people are involved around you. There's more structure to it. When you lose a pet, it's generally just you and your close family, maybe a friend or two. And a lot of people don't understand it. I always say that to the people in my group, we call ourselves the unicorn group because a lot of people have pets. Not a lot of people are going to come to a support group or come to this webinar. We are a very special, I say we're a special breed of people. We're people who we love our pets differently than a lot of other people do. And it's important to realize that you don't have to, again, go through this alone, but that your feelings are real and that they're valid. You may have heard this with human loss as well, but grief really has no timeline. Connie and I were teasing that we know each other for 150 years, but the field of bereavement, and I think Connie, you'll agree with this, just in the short time that we've been doing it in the last 15, 20 years, has changed drastically in terms of nobody really talks about getting over a loss, right? Because you don't. I mean, I lost Maz going on 18 years. I still miss him every day. I talk to him. Sometimes I write to him. Grief, that I always say that grief journey is full of U-turns and potholes and detours, and there really is no one set way or no set timeline of going through. Connie, can you take the next slide here?
Yeah. Yeah. So and we're getting some a lot of good comments in the chat, and I just want to say we're so sorry for all of your losses. We totally understand. Well, we don't totally understand, but we've both Sandy and I've been where you are several times, and someone just, asked, when am I going to feel better? And I'll tell you, almost all of my clients and group participants, like, when am I going to feel better? And We have no idea. Sandy and I, we didn't know when we would feel better. So we're really not going to know when you're going to feel better. All we can say is that you will feel better one day. Um, it depends on your inner resilience, your support system, external stressors, internal, everything that's going on in your life. And those of you who have lost multiple pets or had multiple other losses in your life, you know that every single one of those was different. And so, um, this is really the time, and I kind of like to call it, this is the time where you just kind of have to cocoon yourself and allow yourself to grieve. Feel all the feels, cry, cry again, and then cry some more, wail, um, go to bed. I mean, not for 3 months, but go to bed or lay on the couch. Take really good care of yourself. Let yourself grieve. Unfortunately, pet loss is what's falls in the category, and we'll talk about this more, disenfranchised grief. And you might not be getting as much support as you would like. No one really shows up on your doorstep with a casserole after you've lost your dog or your cat. You're not getting, a bereavement leave through your work. Although I just got 3 days when my mother died. I mean, that was ridiculous. But if you don't really even get bereavement leave when a
Yeah.
human dies, you're not rarely going to get it when your pet dies. So you just kind of feel like you're on your own. And that's when it's just be really gentle and caring and patient with yourself and let yourself grieve. Don't make any big decisions. Don't go buy a new house. Don't go buy a new car. Don't change careers. Just kind of be in this little state of suspended animation for a while. And that's okay because that's what you need to protect yourself because you're in a lot of psychic pain right now. And if you had a broken leg, you wouldn't be going out to a dance.
It's a good,
You've
yeah.
got a broken heart. And this is really the time for you to just take good care of yourself and just and and grieve because you know what? Every one of your pets deserves it. They deserve every single one of the tears that you've shed.
Thanks, Connie. We are going to be sending you this as a resource after the webinar. And it's like Connie said, sometimes you just have to breathe. So we've got to take care of yourself. We have this acronym here. And I love this saying. There are only two things that I must do today. I have to breathe in and I have to breathe out. And when you're grieving, sometimes that's all you could do, and that's okay. Be sure, like Connie said it, get some rest. Grief is exhausting. It also, we know, affects our immune system. So be sure to take care of yourself, hydrate. Again, if you can't eat, I know a lot of us have gone on those grief diets where you lose like 10 pounds in 10 days because you just have no appetite. Try to snack on healthy snacks. This A is important. Ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. But also take the time you need. And then honor your heart, honor your mind, honor your body, and honor the relationship that you had with your beloved pet. Probably, I'd say, Connie, this is one of the things that people talk and struggle with the most with is that the people around them. And you've heard us talk about an anticipatory bereavement, finding your tribe, right? Listen, I could get on a total soapbox about this, but we have never been taught, even with human loss, we've never been taught how to grieve. We've never been taught how to help people around us who are grieving. And there are people who really care about you, your mom, your husband, your partner, your brother or sister. that want to help, but they can say some really hurtful things like, let's go to the shelter and find you a new dog or cat. I mean, if you had a child who died, would you go, let's call an adoption agency and see if we can get you on a list for a foster child? People just don't know how to help. Sometimes it scares people, right? They don't want to hear a lot about it because maybe they have a dog or cat that they didn't deal with their loss, or they've got an older dog or cat. It's about creating those safe boundaries. How do you do that? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Part of it, too, is finding your tribe after you've lost a pet. Similar to anticipatory bereavement, but a little different. You want to find those people that you can trust, that you know that if you say something like, I don't know how I'm going to go on without Moz, they're not going to call the suicide prevention squad. They're going to allow you to voice that. People who are respectful of your loss and aren't trying to push you along. People who are interested in your story. People who can bring that stability, that grounding to you. And then, of course, people who are empathetic. Those are the people that you really want to let in. Connie, can you do this next slide for me? After a few slides, I'm getting a little smart.
Yeah, you bet. So, and like we always say, you don't have to go this alone. We really believe that grief is not a journey that should be traveled alone. Sure, you can do it. You can, tough your way through it, but just because the fact that you're here kind of shows that you're not getting the support around you, and it's really hard. Your friends might, at first sound interested and be helpful and all of that, but and this is the same with human loss too. You'll get a lot of support right at the beginning, and then people will just kind of slowly wander off, and then you're just like, well, I'm still grieving. Where are you? So, like Sandy mentioned when we first started, we have two online chat rooms. More and more pet loss support groups are popping up um, everywhere. Um, we really um, often don't recommend an unmoderated Facebook group.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to cover this later, Sandy, but a lot of times it just comes someplace where you go and you're seeking some support and understanding, and then all you're getting is just everybody else's heartbreak poured on top of yours. And the thing about a moderated support group or a moderated chat room is that there's a facilitator that's kind of moving things along and making sure everyone has a chance to share, making sure that everyone is being respectful and understanding and empathetic. And Sandy and I both talked about how we really like to lead groups because it's amazing how people are just in these incredible depths of despair and sadness and heartbreak, and they can kind of crawl out of that and support someone else that's in that same depth of despair. And you leave going, wow, the world isn't such a horrible place after all.
Yeah.
There are some truly kind, wonderful people in this world, and you'll find a lot of that in support groups. Um, there's chat rooms, we have two online chat rooms, individual sessions. Both Sandy and I do individual sessions, and you can find, pet loss grief counselors a lot now, a lot more than you used to. It was like, you're a what? And so it's getting a little more mainstream now, which is good. And then there's a lot of books out there, a lot of books. Just be careful. You read the reviews if you go out to Amazon and you want, I wonder what this book is like. I think it's always a good idea to read the reviews. There may be some unexpected surprises in there. Some of them get a little you might be a little too woo-woo for you, or maybe a little too religious for you, or something. So, just choose carefully. And then webinars like this, and just find that support, and use it freely. You use it as much and as long as you need, because this is not a journey you should travel alone, and it's not a short journey either.
No, it's not. Thanks, Connie. And yeah, with the books, we do recommend that you look for books who are, especially in the beginning, written by people who have some knowledge in terms of pet loss, because unfortunately, people find, I hate to say this, a niche where they could make money. And it's like, oh, I lost a dog once. I think I'll write a story about it. And they'll be like, oh yeah, I just went out and got myself another dog and I'm fine now. And you think, well, I'm not like that at all. So you do want to try to, like Connie said, read the reviews. Same thing with webinars. Same thing again, and Facebook definitely has its perks, but we have been often, a lot of people come to our groups because they start out with some of the groups on on places like Instagram or Facebook, and while they try to help, there's nobody there to really guide you along and provide you some of the support that you need. So thanks, Connie. Thanks for that. Let's talk now about how do we begin to heal? What are specific things we can do to begin to heal, especially during the holiday time? And here's the thing, and many of us in the mental health or support area know that the holidays can be difficult whether you're grieving or not. I mean, everybody thinks it's like you have to be holly and jolly, but the end of the year can bring up a lot, right? How was our year? Was it good? Was it bad? Did we lose a job? Did we crash a car? But we start to review all of that, and then everybody expects us to be happy, and it's like, but I'm not happy during this time. So part of it is our expectation that we're supposed to be something to others and to ourselves. And the bottom line is grief takes no holidays. I often have clients that'll call and think about coming to a group or having a session, and they're like, I think I'm just going to try to go away for a while. And I always kind of say, well, wherever you go, there you are. The grief, it's not like you go to the Caribbean and the grief stays in New Jersey. It's not how it works. Grief really doesn't take any holidays. And so that's why this time can be even harder.
But you are in the Caribbean and not New Jersey, so there
Well,
is that.
that's true too. There's something to be
There's
said as I'm looking at 4 inches of snow about.
there's always that.
Yeah. But here's something to ask yourself. Do I want to celebrate? If, and I will tell you, when I lost Maz, I was in a position, a very different profession, where I was doing client relations. And so I had to go to a lot of public events and speak. And around the holiday time, I'd have to go to all these different holiday parties. And Maz died at the holiday time. And I was just like, how am I going to do this? And luckily, my boss let me drag along a colleague of mine. That kind of took some of the pressure off me. But it's okay if you don't feel like you can go. You don't have to go. And maybe it's about planning ahead. So maybe if your partner has a big company party that he's got to go with him to that. But maybe don't go to a local neighborhood party. Decide where you want to go. Choose who you want to be with. Who are those people who are going to support you? And sometimes the best way to do that is simply by just staying in the moment. Even if you've got a party to go to and you start getting ready and it's like, I just don't think I can. I just don't think I can. I know this person's going to be there. I know this person has three dogs and two cats, and I just don't think I can be around them. If your heart is telling you not to go, then maybe the best thing to do is just not to go. And it kind of related to this is finding where your safe places are, right? What's a safe place? A place that may be your bedroom, a place that makes you feel calm, a place that makes you feel peaceful, that makes you feel good being there, or brings some kind of happiness because you're comfortable. Maybe a place that makes you feel inspired. Maybe you want to go to church or synagogue or a special meditation center. Finding places that bring you comfort is so very important. We talked a little bit about, I'm sorry, Connie, I'll do this slide and I'll let you do the next.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about boundaries, right? And kind of cocooning yourself, like Connie said. Sometimes we need to practice saying no. And nobody likes to say no. It's uncomfortable to say no. But what if we could change it around and say, when I say no, I'm sorry, I can't come with you to pick out a Christmas tree. No, I'm sorry, I can't go to Thanksgiving dinner this year. Really, what we're doing is we're saying yes to ourselves. We're saying, yes, I matter. Yes, my grief matters. And yes, I'm going to take time for me. And again, it's kind of like a muscle that we have to build up. We've got to, but the more you can do it, the more you can kind of say, and you don't have to be like, no, I don't want to go to your party. You can just, you can, I say white lies, right? Just say, oh, my stomach's been a little funky lately, and I can't go to big meals, or I've been having this, let me see how I feel, and maybe make it be a maybe. But to start to exercise that no muscle, realizing that sometimes saying no means that we're saying yes to ourselves. Connie, I'll let you take that one.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you, the older you get, the easier it is to say no. So that is one perk
Mhm.
of getting older is
That is true.
you're just like no. Um, yeah, and put yourself on the schedule. And I think Sandy mentioned it. No, I don't want to, I can't come to um your party this year, you know,
Yeah.
or this time, or you can, and you can always say, but let's get together, after the new year or something like that, so you can always do things like that. So people, you can temper your no a little bit. But yeah, this is really the time for you to just sit in front of the fire like this lovely couple is, although they're not watching the Seahawks, so we're gonna have to
I know.
change. It better not be Green Bay. I don't know. Um, but yeah, if you just want to watch football, then watch football. If you want to do a jigsaw puzzle, do a jigsaw puzzle. You want to take a walk, go take a walk. Do whatever is calming and comfortable and peaceful for you. This is your time because honestly, if you force yourself to go to that party or go to that family dinner or whatever it is, um, unless you're an Oscar-worthy actor, uh, people are going to know that you're not having a great time. And it's it's really not the best thing for you or for the people who invited you to the party. Unless you're the only one they invited,
Yeah.
they probably got a lot of other people, to talk to. So yeah, and like Sandy said, little white lie, and I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling well. But let's make plans for after the holidays or something like that, and so. Um, do those things that are healthy. We can do some things that aren't healthy, but do those things that are healthy to just calm your nervous system down, calm your soul down, and just give yourself, put yourself first. We don't do that, especially women. We don't do that, but really put yourself first.
Thanks. Yeah, and again, I'll say I'm sure we're sharing some of this stuff, and it may be like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I can do that. Here's something I learned too is like, what would Maz want me to do? Maz would want me to take care of myself. Maz, and so what as part of their legacy, as part of remembering who they were and what they taught you. Why not learn to take care of you? Because that's all they really wanted to do. I know we've been talking about taking care of ourselves, but some of us are married, have kids, have partners with demanding responsibilities. And sometimes, like I said, you may have a partner, you may have a mom or dad is like, well, we're having people over, so I need you to be there, or I need you to help me, right? And so we need to make those necessary compromises where sometimes we may not want to do things, but there are ways that you can compromise and talk to those people. I mean, they do care about you, hopefully, anyway, right? I want to see you feel good. So, how do we do that? Well, here's a few suggestions. If your partner has to go to a party and you may say, okay, well, I'm going to go with you, but I'm going to take my own car and I'm only going to stay an hour or I'll stay as long as I can. So it's a compromise. You're trying to be there for them, but take your own car and leave when you can't stand it anymore. If you normally have people over and it's the only time your partner gets to see their family, you may want to say, okay, well, um, we're gonna have you come over, but I haven't been feeling that great, so I'm gonna ask you to chip in and or bring something or do something more to help us put this together this year. If you have kids, and you know that it's not your kids' fault and they don't really understand why you don't want to celebrate the holiday, maybe you can say to your partner, you know what? I'm going to order the gifts, but I'm going to need you to wrap them or decorate them. Or I'll order ones online, you go to the store and get what I can't order. And think about it. What compromise can you make? Like I said, my job, a big part of my job was the holiday time. I had to go to these parties. And so I did go into my boss and say, I don't feel like I can do it. Would it be okay if I brought a vet with me? And we'll take two cars, and that's what we did. So when I couldn't stay anymore, a vet was there to handle the rest of the party for me. It takes a little bit of imagination, sometimes thinking outside the box, but it really can make a difference. And I think if you let whoever you need to compromise with know that you want to try to work with them, you can generally find solutions to almost anything.
There's a good comment in chat, and this is a really good idea. So I like to encourage saying yes while asking permission to cancel at the last minute, especially if it's a big group of people and your
Yeah,
canceling wouldn't affect that much because we don't know who we will be that day. Yeah, and we don't
yeah,
because you're finding out grief is not linear, and you may feel okay, and you may feel like, oh, I kind of would like some company tonight, or and so that's a really good point. Say, um I would really like to go, but I may need to cancel. I just want to let you know. And
yeah, exactly. That's a compromise.
yeah.
See? Let's talk about traditions, and I want to share a story here. Like I said, so Maz died right before Thanksgiving, actually. Um, and I'm Jewish, and part of Maz, and I had another cat, Callie, too. I didn't actually mention her. I'm sorry, Callie. Um, but I did have her picture up there, so part of our thing, and it was the funniest thing. My friends always used to laugh when they would come over and see it. Is every night during the nights of Hanukkah, I would say to Maz, "Okay, come on, it's time to light the menorah." And he would come into the kitchen and sit there as I lit the candle and said the prayer. And then, of course, I give him his treat or his Hanukkah gift. And maybe it was that part. He learned that, oh, there's temptations after this part of it. So, but it was Hanukkah time, and I thought, I just can't do this. I don't know what to do. And I had to go to the store. And as I was walking down this aisle, I saw, and if you saw in the picture, Mars was a beautiful blue-eyed chocolate point Siamese. And so he had these magnificent blue eyes. And I saw a candle, and it was a frosted candle, and a jar, and the candle itself was this magnificent blue color that matched his eyes. So I was like, huh, okay, I'm gonna get that. So I bought the candle, and what I did was every night I would light that candle first that represented Maz, and then I would light the menorah. And it was almost like Maz was still with me. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm talking about here. What can we do to keep traditions or change them a little bit? I think we talked about there is, and again, we say that pet loss is much more known out there. It is not as much as we would like it to be, but there are companies who today you can go on Amazon or what's the other one? Etsy, I think. Is that it, right? Where you can get ornaments with
Yeah.
your pet's name on them. Or you can get, these little, I actually saw a little Christmas tree that you can put instead of an angel, it had like a dog or a cat face on it. And I mean, it was small, maybe it was like 2 feet, 3 feet tall, but something like that. What can you do? How can you change those traditions to still keep them to be a part of it? I had a client who had 6 Lhasa and they were all named fruit names. So it was like berry and strawberry and cherry and she lost one of her dogs. But every year they would do a family portrait of them with their dogs. And she was trying to figure out what can I do? Everybody always waits for these cards. Well, she found a company that put angel wings on the picture. So that's what she did. The point is, sometimes you change things. Sometimes you can make new traditions. Sometimes you just don't do the traditions that are too hard to do. But there are ways of getting through it. Whoops. The point is, through all of this, it's important that it's okay to grieve. You don't have to put your grief on hold. And it's just as important to take care of yourself. That is the gift of unconditional love that you can give to yourself. Just like you shared it with your pets and your pets gave you unconditional love, allow your gift to yourself for the holidays to be that. To allow yourself to grieve and not hide it, to take care of yourself. And before we go on to ways of memorializing your pet, and Connie, you probably get this too, right? It's not uncommon for people to want to celebrate, to kind of give yourself, and it's okay to take a grief break. But what happens then? Like, I'll never forget, I had to go to this party after Moz died. And somebody was there and they were telling a story, and I don't remember the story, but I remember it was really funny. And I laughed out loud. And my friend Yvette that was with me said, "Oh my God, it's so good to see you smile and laugh." And the moment she said that, I went, oh my God, I smiled and I laughed. That must mean that I don't love Moz anymore because it's not hurting. Doesn't mean that at all. So many people worry about letting go, right? And we always change it around. It's okay to let go of the sadness. It's okay to let go of the grief, of the hard part of it. You're never going to let go of them. If you were going to let go of them, you wouldn't be in this webinar. You wouldn't go to a group. They will be a part of your life forever. And so if you want to go to that holiday party, if you want to take a grief break, go ahead and do it. Your pets would want that for you. Try to let go of that holiday guilt. That would be a good thing to let go of. Connie, can you take the next slide or two? Well, this one is kind of easy, but
Yeah, I was like, okay. You are not alone. Next slide.
yeah, but just again, realize that you don't have to do it by yourself. That's the most important part of all of it. Okay, so we're gonna talk about ways of memorializing your pet. And what happens when you memorialize your pet, right? It makes you feel closer to them. We're going to talk about the importance of memorializing, some of the benefits of it, and then some options for memorializing your pet. Let's start with the importance. Again, what does memorializing your pet do? Well, it helps you keep them close, right? Having that special Christmas tree, doing that card, having a little table with their picture or their trimmings. It allows you to keep a place where it says you matter. They can be close to you. It also keeps them close to you when you encourage, it encourages you to share those memories with others. And in doing that, it keeps them closer to you, sharing those funny stories, telling people about what they taught you. It that allows you to feel closer to them as well. And then, of course, it allows us, Connie talked about it, cry cry. And when you think you're done crying, cry some more. Allow yourself to feel that pain. By allowing yourself to feel that pain, I always say that like when you lose a pet, it's almost like there's a big brick inside you, or like a big balloon inside your stomach, if you can imagine it. And by taking the time to get support to work through the grief, you begin to chip away. And all of a sudden, that big brick, that big stone boulder that it feels like, it becomes a smaller brick. And you keep going to the group, you read a book, you do talk to a friend. And all of a sudden, that big stone becomes a little pebble. So now, are those little pebbles ever going to go away? No, because we always are going to miss our pets. But they're a lot more manageable, or thinking of a balloon. You start to poke holes in that balloon the more you do. It allows some of the intensity of the pain to go away, and that's okay. Connie, I'm going to ask you to take the next slide. It's not going to say you are not.
Um, yeah, and we just really can't stress enough how important memorialization is for our pets. Um, After we've lost a pet, we really to us it's like it's a senseless death, and we're just feel like we're wandering around trying to make sense out of something that's so senseless. And as human beings, we like to have everything have meaning. We just don't want our pet to die, and then that's the last interaction that we have with them or with their memories or um uh with our life with them. And so when we memorialize a pet, it kind of it kind of grounds us, and it kind of gives us, first of all, it gives you something to do that's constructive and that's positive. And it allows us to let our creative juices flow, whether, it's whatever you want to do. If you want to write a song or write a story or a collage or a painting or something. And however you decide to do it, make it meaningful. Don't go, well, I heard that I was supposed to make a picture collage, so I'm going to make a picture collage. Well, no, if that doesn't resonate with you, do what resonates with you. And I have a kind of a funny story that I just heard the other day from one of my clients. She um, saw an animal communicator, and we won't talk about that, but we just real quick, you know do your own research and make sure you find someone that has come, highly recommended, preferably by someone before you seek out the help of an animal communicator. But she was asking, what would her little dog want? And she goes, well, and she goes, well, I think I want to get a tattoo. And she goes, he said, no, that tattoo is for you. That's not for me. I want someplace where you can go and visit me and be with me. And so we talked about, she's in an apartment complex, but she might be able to like put a little bench out there and plant some flowers or something, and then she can go out there and be with him. So, really think carefully when you're thinking about memorializing, what you want to do, and make sure it's meaningful. Make sure it's meaningful.
Thank you. So we are going to talk about some ways that we've used and our clients have used that have been really helpful. Like Connie said, really meaningful. I will tell you, I have a client who was sent, and she thinks like her son spent a lot of money on this. like a outline of her dog and from a picture. And with the outline came like these colors and stuff, and it came with like how you should color it in. But the whole thing was like, you do it, you finish the picture. And she was like, I love that he thought about, but she's like, I hate coloring. It's so boring and I'm not artistic at all. So this isn't something that was going to be meaningful for me. And again, she did it slowly, and luckily her son lives like all the way across the country, so she had a few months before she was able to finish it. But she actually keeps it in the one bedroom that they don't go into a lot because it really doesn't mean as much to her. But what can you do? Well, this is something that our clients have found really helpful around, especially around the holiday time. And it's very simple. You can take a plain jar, I don't know, like a jar where you get noodles or something in, or cookies, or you can decorate it. You can even decorate the plain jar with your pet's picture. And then you take little pieces of paper, and every day you write a favorite memory, or you write something that you feel like your pet taught you, or a reason why you're grateful for having your pet in your life. And you put it in the jar, and then maybe once a month or once every few months, you take it out and you read some of them. Or maybe you're having a really hard day and you just need to remember some of the happier times. You can take them out and read them. It's very easy and very simple to do. Obviously, donating in your pet's name. So many shelters and rescues need supplies, food, toys, blankets. There's a organization in LA that just used to it was called Blankets of Love, I think, and they would ask for blankets that you weren't using anymore, and they would drop them off at shelters so that the pets didn't have to lay on the cold floor. If you can't donate money or supplies, maybe volunteer your time. They always need volunteers as well. And you do it to honor the baby that you lost. Connie mentioned this too. Some people are very creative. I have a client who did write a book, a children's book about her pet. I have another client who's a songwriter who wrote a song about his dog. There's actually been work done that has shown that creativity can be really helpful for grief. I will tell you, I'm not creative at all. But when I lost Moz, I wanted, and we'll talk about this in a moment, to do a little memorial service. So the night before, I decided I wanted everybody to have a memorial book. And so I went and I took hours looking for different pictures. I included poems that meant stuff to me. I included emails people had sent, condolence emails with memories. And I put together this little memorial book, and I printed about 6 of them. I was having like 6 or 7 people there. And we all read through the poems during the memorial service and shared memories. And it felt so healing to be able to give people something that was part of Moz and part of our story together.
You're trying to get it to.
Please make sure you're on mute, okay? There's a lot of, if you have a favorite dog park or park that you used to hike in, there's a lot of things. You can plant a tree. Connie was talking about her client. You live in an apartment. I've seen these things which are really neat where people take a plant because they can't plant something physically, and they take their dog's collar and they put the collar around, or a cat's collar around the base of the neck of the planter. There's things you can do like that and just put it on your patio. Again, today there are a lot of, a lot of the pet cemeteries or cremation companies have plaques or urns or jewelry that you can do. You can have part of the cremains made into jewelry. I do recommend that if you're going to have some kind of necklace where you put some of the cremains in it, be sure to like super glue the top where you put the remains in so that it doesn't open up and they fall out. You want to make sure it's really secure. If
Yeah.
you're going to send it someplace off to be done, maybe keep some for yourself too, so that should it get lost, should it not work out right, you're not stuck with nothing. Connie,
Yeah, I lost Jake on the beach last year, and I just
oh
figured
no.
he loved the beach so much he just wanted to stay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Connie, I'll let you do the next couple. Okay,
sure.
go ahead.
Uh, yeah, so there's all kinds of places that you can send pictures off and have books done. Uh, uh, there's all kinds of programs where you can upload photos and videos and put music to it and just really um, uh, make some nice, beautiful memories of your pet. That that's one thing that I think we're so lucky to live in this day and age, because I look back and I have maybe 4 or 5 pictures of my first husky, because we had cameras and you had to take it into Rite Aid and have them give you back your few photos that turned out okay. And now, I mean, we all have 10,000 at least photos of our pets on our phones. I always say if the government wants to hack into my phone, go for it, because they're going to just see pictures of my dogs. I hope they enjoy them. And so, we've got all of these pictures and all of these videos, and put something together. I did that for I lost one of my dogs last month, and I put together a memorial, wrote a little tribute for her on Facebook, and found a bunch of pictures, and it was, it's just healing to go back and look at those pictures and just remember how happy they were and how happy you were and what a wonderful life they gave you and you gave them. And there's some just really wonderful things that you can do, and they're not expensive either. I mean,
No.
putting together a video essentially is free. And I don't believe the photo books are that expensive either. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And of course, if looking at pictures are painful, don't. I mean, we're not going to say, well, make a book, it'll make you feel better, because it might not. We are all different in what we need. I've got clients who cannot look at the pictures. I have clients who can't stop looking at pictures. So, none of this is a hard and fast rule. Do whatever brings you comfort, what has meaning, and you know throw everything away. You don't have to do anything that doesn't bring you comfort. And yeah, we talked about the online memorials. There's several places where you can go and post an online memorial. There's several places where you can go and light a virtual. They've got virtual candle lightings, and you can have your own candles. I know many people light candles on a regular basis. So there's the options are out there. There's a lot of things that you can do, but like I said, just do it. Do whatever brings you comfort. Don't think that you have to do any of these.
This one means a lot to me, like I said. I just felt like, and again, this was back in 2007, there was almost no support out there. And I wanted to share Moz and to honor Moz with the people who had been by our side. And the beautiful thing about memorial services is there's no date stamp on them, right? And that's the thing too with any of this. There's no date stamp. You don't have to do all this in the first couple of months. If you need to wait 6 months before you put on a memorial, wait 6 months. But you can do something like I said. I made little memorial books for everyone. I will tell you the most elaborate memorial service I've ever been to is there was a couple who lost. They had two Pomeranians. They had no children, and their dogs were their babies. So one of the Pomeranians passed away. And as you went into their backyard, you walked through a rainbow bridge made of balloons of all different colors. Then you walked into the backyard, and they had beautiful pictures all over the fence. You got a Rainbow Bridge magnet. They had Rainbow Bridge cupcakes for everybody. I mean, I don't know what they spent on this thing. They had me come to speak a little bit, and they waited like, I would say 6 to 9 months because they just couldn't do it. It was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be you and your family in your backyard. I mean, more and more people do this little memorial garden in their backyard. You go to Lowe's or Home Depot and pick out like a Jake bush and then maybe get like prayer flags, those Tibetan prayer flags, or you could get those stones, right, that have their names on them. Whatever it takes. I've had people do celebrations of life after a year of losing their pet, and that's the first thing they did. It's okay, whatever feels right. So as we wind up, I am not a big quote person, but this one really speaks to me. And I think it's so true because death doesn't end a relationship with our babies. It changes it, but it doesn't end it. They're always going to be a part of our hearts and our lives. And taking the time to work through the grief, that's what's going to help you begin to let go of the pain, because it is okay to let go of the pain, but you'll always keep them close to you. I think this is a saying that I always share with my clients, and I think it means so much. It was written by Suzanne Clothier. She wrote a book. She's a dog trainer, actually. But she wrote this, and I think we all get it, right? There is a cycle of love and death that shapes the lives of those who choose to travel in the company of animals. It is a cycle unlike any other. To those who have never lived through its turnings or walked its rocky path, our willingness to give our hearts with full knowledge that they'll be broken seems incomprehensible. Only we know the truth, how small a price we pay for what we receive. Our grief, no matter how powerful it may be, is an insufficient measure of the joy that we've been given. And isn't that the truth? I mean, think about it. If somebody said to you, you never ever have to feel this pain, But the price for not feeling that pain means you didn't get to have your pet in your life. What would you do? And I know it hurts like hell in the beginning, but I think all of us would say it's worth it for the time that we were given. Again, please remember you are not alone in this. It's not like when Connie and I lost our babies. Pet loss partners, we have virtual support groups on Wednesdays and Saturdays. That's the link to join. We have online pet loss chat rooms on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have individual sessions. Connie and I, if you're interested in them, we will give you a call or an email, start out with, and we'll arrange that with you. We have written resources that we send our community and networking things. So you can reach out to me at that email address and we can get you hooked up that way too. But please know we're here to support you. Next month, we're going to be doing a webinar on the first 90 days of loss, getting through the first 90 days. So we will send out information about that. I'm gonna open it up now. Here's our contact information. We did get sent in I think about 4 questions, and some of them we kind of talked about in the webinar today. Connie, I don't know if there's any that you want to bring up as well. But let me get through these, and then we can move from there. So one of them is from a woman and just initial L, and she says, "My loss has now been 6 months. I've been trying to work. I've been trying to take care of my family, and I feel like it's getting harder, not easier. I keep being told that time heals. Time is shit. Sorry if I said it's not helping at all. Is it something with me? What do I do? Please help." So you're right. Time is shit. Um, no, there's this saying that, and again, we're not taught how to help people begin to heal. That, oh, you'll see, it'll get easier in time. What is time? Time is just one more day. If you are not taking the time to work through it, it's going to be 2 days, and then it'll be 10 days, and then it'll be 6 months. You've got to take the time to begin to deal with these emotions. Nothing is wrong with you, Elle. You just haven't had a chance, a safe place to be able to start to work through it. And that's why it's not getting better. Like I said, it's like a balloon. Unless you start poking holes in the balloon, it's going to stay there. It's going to stay that big. But you've just taken the first step. Hopefully this webinar has been helpful for you. And if you want to join a group or a chat room, and we'll be sending out some resources. We'll send you a copy of the webinar. But nothing is wrong with you. Please don't think anything is. And Connie, please feel free to jump in too on any of these.
Yeah, and I think we talked about that early on in the presentation that your feelings are normal and your feelings are valid. And um, so many people, come in those first few weeks or months and go, I feel like I'm going crazy. And grief is crazy making. And your whole world has been turned upside down. Why shouldn't you? But what you're feeling is normal and all of your feelings are valid. It's grief and it sucks. It's horrible. I wish we didn't have to do it, but I think Sandy mentioned it. We don't see people who had their dog tied up in the backyard
Right.
all day, or we don't see people who just had a cat that they just, fed. we see people who have very deep and profound bonds with their pets, deep, profound, loving bonds. And of course, your heart is going to be broken. And of course, it's going to be hard. And I think that, just recognizing that, yeah, this is really hard. And, and, and you you are suffering, you are in pain, and but you don't have to feel like this forever. You won't feel like this forever. We are a very resilient species, despite some of the stuff that we do ourselves. And we do heal. This is a question or a statement kind of along those lines. Since losing my pet, I am short-tempered with others. How can I stop this behavior? Yeah, we're kind of mad. We're
Yeah,
kind of mad. We lost our best friend. I remember going, you see people with their dogs and going, how come their dogs are still alive and
yeah,
mine's not? It's so unfair because yes, what happened was very unfair. Even though your dog or your cat was older and in declining health, it just feels so unfair. So yeah, all of those emotions are going to happen. Let them happen, and um and just grieve. And yeah, and if you are short-tempered with others, maybe they're not the ones that you should be hanging around with, unless it's your family, and then you can't go. I'm gonna go stay in a hotel for a few weeks, but we'd probably like to do that. But just be really gentle with yourself and be honest, just um just say, I'm just really feeling sad right now, or I'm just feeling, just this overwhelming grief and 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 it doesn't hurt to apologize. I'm sorry I'm being like this. I'm trying, but
yeah.
it's going to take me some time. I like to tell people it's just say I'm really, really sad right now, but I'm going to be okay. And that kind of gives people the permission to kind of let you heal. And because the other thing is, especially in this culture, we like to fix people. So
Yeah.
we're like, we just want you to feel better. We don't do grief well. It scares us. It reminds us of our own losses, our own mortality. So people might be trying to, move you along faster than you're ready to be moved along. And so it kind of gives them permission to kind of just, okay, let you grieve. I'm gonna be okay, but not today, not tomorrow. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but I will. But right now, I need to feel the way that I'm feeling. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
And I will say too, it's a lot easier to be angry
Yeah.
than it is to be sad. When you're angry, you could throw something at somebody and say, "Oh, just shut up, leave me alone," and you get to walk out of the room, right? Or you can rip up a piece of paper or do whatever you do. When you're sad, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to cry in front of others. It's an uncomfortable feeling. And so it's not uncommon for our grief to go to anger because it's just easier for our heart to deal with. Okay. I have another question here, which again, this is kind of my soapbox item, so I won't go on too long about it. But um, I don't know who it's a man or woman. M is the initial. So I'm in my 20s and I have two. I think it's a guy now that I'm reading it. I have two young children. Yeah, well, it says partner. That I'm raising with my partner. My partner seems to be doing better than I am in this, and there are days I just come home from work and cry. We got into a big fight the other day because she said that my 5-year-old got really upset when he saw me crying. I can't help it. These are my emotions. Is it bad to let your children see you so upset? How do I know? Maybe they're as sad as I am and we just don't talk about it. What do I do? How do we begin to heal as a family? Um, yeah, again, I said it. We don't we're not taught how to grieve. We're not taught how to help others. And think about it. Think about it as a kid. The first loss you often go through is loss of a pet, a goldfish, a dog or cat, right? And it used to be, and this is where I'm saying um the field of bereavement has changed a lot. It used to be that we didn't want our kids to see us cry. I have a client now who lost her mom when she was 7 years old,
Mm.
and she got woken up. The mom died in the middle of the night, and I guess her mom was sick. And she's told, Mommy died, but you need to be really strong because she had a younger sister and brother. You've got to be strong for this one and that one. So she never really got to grieve for the loss of her mom because she was told to be strong. And she has horrible memories of going to the funeral and stuff. Today, we really talk about the best thing you can do for your children is allow them to see you grieve. Grieve with them, talk about it. Because what's going to happen? Guess what? They're going to grow up, and what's going to happen? They're going to grieve. They're going to grieve the loss of a relationship. They're going to grieve the loss of a job. They're going to grieve the loss of a pet or a person. And when you allow them to feel those feelings, to see you feel those feelings, and to see you heal, that's a good and a healthy thing. You're right. Maybe your children are sad. And I'm not gonna, I'm sure again, maybe your partner just was never taught that it's okay to grieve either. So she's thinking this is really bad. There are really good books for children on pet loss. And if you write to me or text me, I will send you those. But I really believe that it's important. Let your children see you cry and then say to them, I'm really sad. I'm gonna be okay. But I miss my, Fluffy, or we always pick on Fluffy, um, or whoever it is. I miss them. But I'm gonna be okay. I'm just sad right now. Connie, did you want to add anything there?
Um, no, I think that's good. Yeah, yeah. And there are more and more books for kids that are really helpful. There's just a comment in here or a
Mhm.
question. And yeah, yeah, and I feel this one too. My husband and I are handling this loss differently, and it is affecting our relationship, how to accept each other's grief. Yeah, just because you're married doesn't mean you have a built-in support system.
Yeah.
And we all grieve differently. Um, and so we can feel angry that our partner is not grieving the way that we think that they should be grieving. And so I think just the best thing to do is just accept that, yeah, we're going to grieve differently. That doesn't mean that we're dismissing or discounting each other's grief. Um, Often one partner will grieve more. They may have a different relationship. Dogs and cats often find their person, and one member of a couple, and you may be grieving, more deeply than your partner. That's where seeking out support is helpful. Often I'll have a couple that will come to counseling or to one of our groups, and one of the half of the couple is just there more for support for their other half, and then they'll stop coming, and then we'll just have the other person that's having a more difficult time because we all have different relationships with our pets, even though we're in the same household. You may be primarily responsible for feeding or giving medication or walking or grooming or whatever that is. You've developed a closer bond. You may not have that upbringing that gave you more of an inner resilience that your partner might have. You may not have the support. Maybe your partner has a circle of friends who really understands and is there for them. So, yeah, we're not going to grieve differently. I think just sit down and say, yeah, we're both we're both hurting, um, but we both need a different level of support that we can, obviously that you can provide me. And I think it's unfair to expect our partners to be our support system. We can ask that from them for a while, but um, I think that's when a support group, a counselor, however that you choose to seek out that other support. Maybe you have a close friend you like to go have coffee with that really understands. I have a friend, we call it our husband bitching about hour, and can you believe he's. And
Yeah.
so just seek that support. You're married to this partner, or you live with this partner. They can't be your everything and all. Um, Sometimes we do need to go outside of the relationship and seek support there too.
And I have one more here, and I think it's a good one because it gets brought up a lot in our groups. Actually, there's two more, but kind of related. Um, and I'm trying to shorten it here. It's a little long, but basically, they lost their cat. No, sorry, dog. They do have a cat at home. Um, the partner, again, we seem to be picking on partners, but um, is intent on bringing home another dog for kids, for the holidays as a Christmas gift. And this person doesn't want, and says, I can't open up my heart. I feel like I'm going to resent this new pet. And I keep trying to tell, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, that I don't want this pet, and there's a lot of arguments. Can you give some guidance on when you should consider getting another pet, and considerations on how to bring another pet in? Um, and listen, we can give some guidance, but again, kind of like a lot of this, there is no one answer. I do recommend waiting a minimum of 2 to 3 months before you even begin to think about bringing in another pet. And here's why. Like we've been talking about, we need to allow ourselves time to grieve. And we need to let our children see that it's okay to grieve for somebody we love. Again, imagine like if, God forbid, if you lost a child, would you go to an adoption agency the next day? You wouldn't, right? Another thing too, especially if you go to a shelter or something, and you're bringing in this traumatized animal who's living in a shelter, and you're bringing him in with a job, and their job is to take away your sadness. That's not fair to them. It's also not fair to you because they're rarely as cute or smart or funny, and you may have relied on your pet to snuggle with you in bed, and they want to sleep in another room. I will tell you a quick story. I had a client, a young couple, who lost a dog tragically in front of them. And after a couple of groups, the wife asked, when is a good time to get another dog? And I said, I really believe you need to work through your grief. She came to another group, same thing, the end of the group. She said, but when do you think is another time? And I said, why don't, it's only been a month. Why don't you give yourself some time? I never saw them again. Didn't surprise me. About 2 months later, I got a phone call from a woman crying so hard I couldn't understand her. Turns out it was this young woman. They had gone out and gotten two puppies that looked just like the one they lost. And
Mm.
she couldn't even be in the same room with them. Wound up, seeing her actually in her home. And after a while, she was able to even have the dog sit on the couch with her, and they wound up living a very happy life. But again, she just like all they did was remind her of what she lost, and she wasn't able to love again. So just like Connie was saying, we always say no big changes in the first 30 days or 60 days even. Don't move, don't sell, don't quit your job, don't leave your partner. You're grieving. Allow yourself that time to grieve. And again, I recommend allowing yourself to work through the loss before you bring in somebody, especially like it sounds like this family has a cat. That's another consideration. How's it going to be for that cat if it's older and you bring in a little puppy that's going to drive it crazy? So you have to consider your pet's needs too.
I like to say if you're asking when is the right time to get another pet, it's too soon. If
Yeah.
you're asking when, it's too soon. Um, because you're not sure. And you know, give it some time, let your heart be your guide. We often say our departed pets have a paw in who comes to us next. I've heard some amazing stories about um, how new pets have come into people's lives, and so um, give it time. It's not fair for you. It's not fair for your family. And it's certainly not fair for the pet if it's not a good match and you're just doing it to fill that hole. Wait until your heart has healed and it can open up for another pet.
So that's all the questions I have here. Connie, is there anything we should address?
I'm going back. I'm gonna have to take off here pretty soon. I gotta
Okay.
catch a ferry.
Okay.
Um, I think we got uh we just really encourage everyone to seek support, come to our chat rooms,
For
video
groups.
support groups. Um, we're just so sorry for your losses. It's hard to lose them, and it's really hard to lose them around this time. It
Let
just
me share with you too while you're doing that, Connie, that in the next few days you will be sent a copy of this webinar. You'll be sent a handout of holiday coping strategies along with that breathe acronym and also some offers that pet loss partners will offer you. What we'll do, Connie, I think, is we'll take a look at all the comments. It looks like there's over 100 of them.
yeah.
And if anything needs to be addressed that wasn't, we will include that in the written material. Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I'll save the chat and send it to you afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything anybody wants to add now? If you want to speak out or speak freely
I
or
I don't know if anybody can hear me.
yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I've been reading the comments. This is Carol in Baltimore, and I've never sought any kind of counseling for the grief. And I just wanted to say that since my little healthy cat had been killed in the woods next to my home, and I see the spot where those who found her little body pointed it out to me in a way I wish they hadn't, but I see it every day going in and out the house, and the grief hits me like a brick. But it helps me to trust first in the first place that God is love. He is total love, and He has allowed this. And I don't say, why did you do this? I'm saying, why was it important for me to get this spear through my heart? What's it moving toward? What's it moving me toward? and give me the strength to always be open to how this grief can be translated into doing some good somewhere in my life and perhaps for someone else, because I really have to pull myself away from the thought of how she must have died at the hands of that other animal to that's over. She's at peace now, and I have to believe that. So it's a spiritual thing. I think when pain cripples like this, when it cripples you and tears you apart, you have to survive and believe in the good, that you'll be reunited, and that this is going somewhere. So you take care of yourself, you wash your face, you do what you have to do, and unite your pain with the suffering of our God who loves us. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
That was beautifully said. Thank you. Sandy, I have to drop off, but if you want to call me later,
Sure.
if you want to debrief. Okay. Thanks, everybody. It was lovely meeting you. I hope you have a gentle, peaceful holiday season, and just don't forget we're here for you. So take good care, everyone.
Thank
Will
you.
do, everyone.
Sandy,
Bye-bye.
Sandy, can I speak next?
Sure. Go ahead.
This is Maria from Arizona, and today marks the 1 year anniversary that I lost my dog named Hat, H-A-T. And I had him for 17 and a half years. And he had advanced kidney disease. So I knew that his demise was imminent. However, he ended up having a stroke. So I had no choice but to have him euthanized. And I just had a little memorial out in my front yard where just recently, where I had some flowers potted in my front yard for him. And I very much still miss him and grieve for him. So like I said, today is his 1 year anniversary.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but what a beautiful way you found to memorialize them. And it's never enough time, I mean, we say we have these babies and I have a lot of clients whose losses are very new in terms of their pets were a year old, 3 years old. But even when they live 15 years, 18 years, I mean, when you consider our lifespans, it's not very long at all. And so that's part of what makes it so hard as well.
Yeah, I don't like when people say, well, at least you had them, or at least
Yeah.
you've had them this long. Just like with my parents, they both died at 77. Well, at least they lived a long life.
Yeah. Well, again, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Like I said, we will be sending you a copy of the webinar. You'll be receiving the holiday coping strategies along with the Breathe handout and some other resources. And just know we're here to support you. We've got the chat rooms, we've got the support groups, we've got individual sessions. You don't have to go through this alone. Okay? Thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank
You too. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.